Okay, 2 minutes more to. Usamot, our moderator, are you on the call? This call, can you raise your hand? Okay, I've seen you. Put your hand down, I've seen you. Okay, can we hear your voice? Unmute yourself, Usamot. Usamot, can you unmute yourself?
Good evening, sir.
Oh, good evening. How are
Yes,
you?
I'm fine, sir.
All right. Are you set?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Okay, good evening, everyone. I welcome you all to Public Service Knowledge Hub. Good evening, sir, Mr. Abidin, for joining us today all the way from UK. Good evening,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. Good evening,
Yeah.
please.
So I warmly welcome you to today's professional knowledge sharing session. The Public Service Knowledge Hub platform was created to promote continuous learning, professional development, and knowledge exchange among public servants, with the aim of strengthening capacity for improved public service delivery. In today's rapidly evolving policy enforcement, it is important for public servants to stay informed about reform that affect governance, financial administration, and our personal responsibility as employees of government. Taxation plays a critical role in national and state development. It provides government with the resources required to fund infrastructure, social services, security, and economic development programs. However, for many public servants, tax policy and new tax regulation can sometimes appear complex or difficult to interpret. This makes it necessary to create platforms where experts can break down these policies into practical knowledge that public servants can easily understand. This session is designed to help us understand the key provisions of the new tax law, its implication for public servants, and the importance of voluntary tax compliance as a responsible citizen and employee of government. By the end of this session, participants will have a clear understanding of the new tax framework and how it affects both their professional and personal obligations. At this point, I will invite Usamot, our moderator, to kindly take over. Thank you very much, Usamot.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Jamil. Good evening, everyone. As Mr. Jamil have said, I would like to usher in our facilitator for today's session. We are privileged to have with us Mr. Abidin Adetokunbo Akonde, a special advisor to the Executive Chairman of the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, LIRS. Mr. Akonde is a seasoned professional with extensive experience spanning commercial banking, human capital management, and tax administration. He began his professional career with the defunct Bank of Credit and Commerce International, Africa International Bank, AIB, before joining the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service in 2008. where he has continued to contribute significantly to the advancement of tax administration in Lagos State. He is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN, and an associate of both the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, CIPM, and the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, CILT. Mr. Akande is an alumnus of the prestigious University of Ibadan, where he obtained bachelor's degree in geography and later bagged a master's degree in banking and finance. With this rich blend of academic background and professional experience, we are confident that he is well positioned to provide valuable insights into today's topic, the new tax law explained, what every public servant should know. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming Mr. Abidin Adetokunbo Akande as he takes us through today's presentation. Mr. Akande, sir.
Thank you very much, Musamot. Thank you for the kind words and that you have said about myself. And distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm a bit short on protocol, so I'll just go straight to the issues at hand. It's a rare privilege to be able to have this kind of audience to make things clearer and present it in a proper perspective that they can appreciate what is going on. So it's also this opportunity that this forum has presented for us is that it is quite timely. And I would say it is also critical to the collective responsibility because as public and civil servants, the new tax framework that we have, and you should have a good understanding of it because we are the main drivers of the reform itself. Because we are the public faces of the engine room that drives the tax reform. But it's also critical and important that we should have an understanding of what is driving or what drove the reforms. Basically, we need to understand that what we had before was we had fragmented tax laws. Some of them are dated. We are talking of 1939 laws we were battling with and trying to make sense out of. And then, of course, we had a lot of overlapping responsibilities because there were no clear-cut boundaries, and thresholds. Of course, we had limited data integration and, of course, a narrow taxpayer base that was carrying the load for the whole economy. That's why sometimes when you hear the numbers, you can't just comprehend how it is happening because as of sometimes last year when the new Minister of State was asked how many taxpayers do we have in Nigeria, and he said it's just about 10 million. Now 10 million to carry the weight of 200 plus just does, knowing fully well also that we have a very, very vibrant youthful population. So it tells us certain things that we were not doing right. So there was a need for some kind of at least tweaking of our system, and that's what led to all these reforms. But importantly, what we should know, so that it will guide us when I go into the details, is that the purpose of the reforms were basically, and this will come as a surprise, to protect and support the most vulnerable in our society at the household level and in the business space. I will come to that later, so that the people at the lower end of the pyramid are supposed to be protected and supported so that they can also contribute to the common pool. Secondly, the reforms are geared towards energizing rapid and sustainable economic growth. So how do you do that? You make things more transparent, you support with incentives, and the idea behind it is very simple. Every taxman wants you to thrive because it is only when you thrive and you make money that he can be able to tax you and ask you to contribute your own bit to the pot. And then, of course, we know that we need to engender digitization, take advantage of the ICT that we have, so that it will make the system more transparent, everybody can see it, be more accountable as well. You understand? And once it's accountable, you will engender voluntary compliance.
Sorry, sir.
So I will take it one after the other.
Sorry,
It's
sir.
critical to understand. Yes, please.
Yes, can we share the slide?
Once I'm ready, I will ask you to do it. So what
Yes,
I've done is that since you told me that I have 1 hour, and then for the presentation, I've broken that one into, we have 6 segments, which I will take one after the other. And then, of course, if I'm able to do it in the shorter period, it will be good so that we can have more interaction. But because of the large size of the class, we may not be able to have the question and answer in a verbal way, but in written form, so that people can take advantage of what we have in the chat board. I have a couple of my colleagues as well. I think Samotuk will also help us to curate whatever questions that you have, so that we have everything together and then I can respond to them. So what I've done is that I've given you the background to what we have. So, and we can start sharing now so that I can take it one after the other. Are we able to do that? If not, I can, let me just go on. So we have within, yeah. Okay, the next one.
Can you see my
Yes,
screen?
I can see. So if everybody can see it.
All right, sir.
So let's go to the next page. So that gives an idea of what I want to do here. You can see this is the overview. The introduction itself, the new tax regime, what has changed, the tax obligations of individuals, because it's important for us to understand that before we became, what we have, which are civil servants or public servants, we are initially and primarily citizens and rest of Nigeria residents in Lagos. So there are certain obligations that is implied that we have to comply with. And then, of course, tax obligations as public servants, the obligations of the tax authority, which is where I come from. Then, of course, the enforcement dynamics in the new regime, the implication for businesses, and conclusion. Why do I need to have implication for business? I've told you initially that the primary focus is not really revenue generation, but to drive economic growth. Once you have economic growth, you now use this fiscal tool to ensure that you have inclusive growth, and that will translate to what you call economic development, which will also impact what we call the HDI, that's Human Development Index, that is the key thing that the government wants to drive. And then, of course, I have my conclusion. Now we go to the next slide. Next slide, please. Good. So everybody knows there are 4. Now, it's important to know that of the 4, 2 became operational last year. That is the Nigerian Revenue Service Act 2025 and the Joint Revenue Board Act 2025. And these are some of the things that people, for whatever reasons, there have been a lot of muddling up, a lot of noise on the social media space that were confusing people. Then, of course, the Nigerian Tax Act 2025 and Nigerian Tax Administration Act 2025, which became operational 1st of January 2026. So what were they supposed to do? The Nigerian Tax Act 2025 was to just consolidate all the multiple tax laws into a single framework. What that means is that it becomes easier for you to understand the underlying logic of the taxes that you have, so that what you have that is applicable, and this act in itself is a combination of close to about 20 different acts spanning from 1939 up to, I think the last one was 2022. So almost a century of about between 17 and 20 acts that are now consolidated into one single framework to make it easier for people to understand, to bring clarity, and ensure that we have voluntary compliance. The Tax Administration Act, it's basically to modernize compliance and filing, because it's administration. So all the IRSs and the NRS, that's IRS admin at the subnational level, are supposed to digitize their operations and maintain a minimum level of uniformity so that when you are in Kaduna, whether you are in Port Harcourt or in Lagos or Maiduguri, you know that it is the same rules and laws that are guiding your obligations to the tax, to the state government, to the federal government, and to the tax authority. And also to be assured that there are certain rights that you have under the law, whether you are in Abuja, whether in Lagos, so it's just to maintain that kind of uniformity and improvement in our space. And primarily, it is to ensure and encourage us to comply voluntarily. What we had in the past, if I can come, is that we were practically incentivizing non-compliance. How do I mean? Is that, you see, tax is a burden. I won't say it further than, but it's a burden that you are contributing to the common pool that is supposed to assist every one of us. It's like a tide that lifts all boats, irrespective of the size. So we all contribute to it. Then it is used to provide all this infrastructure, like Jamiu has told us earlier on, so that we can all benefit from it. We all ride on the same road. We all have those kind of things. So but what we had in the past was that the cost of compliance was much higher than the penalty for not complying. So a natural economic person, you don't need to go to school. You know that if the cost of compliance is 10 naira, and if I don't comply, you only charge me 2 naira. So why would I now comply? So what this new set of laws has decided to do is to flip that 180 degrees so that the cost of compliance through digitization and uniformity of operations is reduced to the barest minimum, whilst we now have a regime of penalties. It's quite steep and stiff to force you to. You will know that it makes more sense for you to comply. People talk of people not going against the law in places outside this country. If your bus ride in England is £2, if you don't pay and they catch you and you know that you're going to pay £200, it's just common sense. They don't have to tell you. You will do the right thing. So that's the kind of thing we have done now. And I will talk about because I can't give you all the details of all the penalties that we have in the system, but those ones I can share with Jamiu, who can then share with all the people on this call later on. So that's what the Nigerian Revenue Service Act, it was to transform what we knew as the Federal Inland Revenue Service into a Nigeria Revenue Service. What does it mean? It means Nigerian Revenue Service is a tax authority for the Federation of Nigeria. It is no longer a federal government tax authority. So it's a tax authority for the federal government, for the state, all the state governments, and all the local governments. So whatever NRS collects is for the federation. And it is critical and important that people should know this so that you will understand why there's need for a lot of synergy and cooperation between the subnational internal revenue service and the National Revenue Service, which used to be the Inland Revenue Service. Then the Joint Revenue Board, we've always had the Joint Tax Board, but it was more of an advisory body. Now it's being given a lot of teeth to help us facilitate improved collaboration between NRS and the state RRSs, also to guarantee and provide support to taxpayers in their dealings with tax authority, and also provide some level of minimum infrastructure that some state IRSs, because you can, in the spectrum of the capability, it's very wide. What Lagos IRS is doing, I'm not too sure most of the other states are doing it. So there's now need for a center to assist them, to bring them to the minimum level that can be able to drive these reforms that we want to do. So the next slide, please. Yeah. So you say, what has changed? The laws have become more transparent, more predictable, easier to understand. So when you understand, it becomes easier for you to comply, especially for those people at the lower end of the pyramid, that is the most vulnerable, and of course, the SMEs, the small businesses. Because now we have been doing it in Lagos, but all other states now have been put on the notice that they must digitize their processes so that it becomes easier and cheaper for taxpayers, either as individuals or corporate entities, to comply. Next slide, please. Now, like I said, before we all became civil servants or public servants, we are Nigerians, we are also residents in, so as individuals, even if we are not civil servants, we had some obligations. So people always talk of rights. They tend to forget about the obligations. So, but the key one under this new regime is that every single taxable entity, now that's a natural person like myself, yourself, other corporate persons that are registered companies and what have you, and even MDAs, where we work now, unlike before. Each MDA must have a tax ID. The tax ID is domiciled in the GRB, so you get your, you can do it directly by yourself. It takes you less than 5 minutes once you have your NIN, and if you are a corporate entity, you have your CAC registration number. Once you have those two, you can easily generate. But for MDAs, all the state IRSs and the federal have been asked and requested to compile the list of all their MDAs, which we did sometimes in January, and some other states are yet to submit, so that they can have a uniform way of generating tax IDs for them. So once we have those IDs from the GRB, we will disseminate through the office of the HOS to all the various MDAs. So that the key to it now is that under the new rule, every correspondence must carry the tax ID of the person or the entity that is issuing that correspondence. If it is not there, there are penalties because you have not complied with the law. That's on registration, on identification. Now, for something that is out there that some of us are not, someone like me that's, do I call myself a social whatever dinosaur? That there's a lot of activities in the digital space that previously, as tax authorities, we were not seeing. Now, every digital asset service provider, that is the virtual asset service provider, are compelled by law to register and provide data and information on those transactions. I read about 2 days or thereabout ago that I think last year, close to I think 96 or $100 million. Is it million? Is it million or billion? I can't even remember now. It's a huge, humongous figure that Nigerians are actually very active in that space. We are probably the #1 in Africa because they can see it. So all those people now that provide this service, that is the interchanges where people, platforms where they carry out these transactions are by law. See, in my area, I'm but you can still hear me. I'm on, and I hope you can see me. We're on, they take our lights around between 7 and 8 o'clock, and because we're on band A. So let me try and get this thing sorted. Thank you.
So while we are waiting for him, please, if you know that you are not completely dressed or you are in your bathroom or what have you, please mute your video, please. Mute your video, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamil. Yeah, okay. My generator is on, so we are back. So what we have is that, like I said, now we can see, we're now able to see your digital footprints because the service providers, that is the interchanges on which those activities take place, are now bound by law to register and provide this information to us. Now, the next slide, please. Good. Now, we have filing and compliance. This is an area where most Nigerians, not only Lagosians, are mostly in default. And the sad thing about it is that, you see, unlike the filing done by employers of labor in January, which is strictly based on law, the filing by individuals like yourself and myself is actually a constitutional responsibility, aside from being a requirement of the law. So in the wisdom of those who drafted our constitution, they said, and it is stated there in section 24F, that you must declare truthfully your income to the tax authority and pay from, because our system is what we call self-assessment system, that what you, in your own understanding of your tax obligation, how much you think I've earned 100 naira last year, I think my tax is 10 naira. Without being asked or prompted by the tax authority, you are supposed to write and send in a format that the tax authority said you should present your income. So in Lagos, we started the digital transition, I think in 2018. So we ran it along with physical filing. By 2022, we transited fully to digital. So, and I can tell you and assure you that it will take you less than 5 to 10 minutes to get this done. Now, if you are scared or you don't have the facility to do it, all our offices are open and we have dedicated desks to assist you to do this. It is important to the extent that, and it's what I know now here, that if you fail to file for the first time, now the penalty is 100,000 naira. Now, why do I want to just pay 100, even when my tax may not even be up to that? And for every subsequent month, it will be 50,000. So that's why I'm appealing to each and everyone on this call. Please, if you have not filed, make it, and you can do it tonight because it is digital. If you don't have, then you can do it. Please make sure you do it before 31st of March. We have gone through, we've done a lot of sensitization. I've been to many studios. My colleagues, including the chairman of the IRS, have done it. He has even made through the SA, Taxation and Revenue, to the EXCO as well. And we have reached out to the HOS and the Accountant General as well. So please don't run. We don't want to have it where, because we are Caesar's wife, we should be seen to be above board. Aside from being above board, you should be seen to be above board. So please, civil and public servants should not be found not to be compliant with constitutional and statutory requirements. So please try and file on time. And like I said, it is available for you to do. These are things that is expected of you. But also, when you are filing, the beauty of filing is that you are saying this is how much I earned, and you are reporting last year's income. But the filing also provides the opportunity to claim allowances and reliefs. So, and the ones that are very open that everybody knows, the pension payment, that one automatically required because we know you are a Lagos State employee and the pension is automatic. We have the National Housing Fund. If you subscribe to it, you have your whatever you subscribe will be granted to you as a relief. If you, as an allowance, if you also subscribe to National Health Insurance Scheme, even if it is even Ilera Eco that you subscribe to, it will be granted. Now, those three are there. They are statutory. Then there are some that actually, it's something that you have done voluntarily yourself. Like if you have decided to do life insurance for yourself or for your spouse, then the premium that you paid last year will also be relieved. That's number 4, Abi. Yes, I think so. Now, the number 5(1), and there's a number 6. Under this new law, there is a deliberate attempt to ease and, like I said, to protect the most vulnerable. So it is that if you are a tenant and you pay rent, the rent that you paid, 20% of it subject to a maximum of 500,000 naira. If you might be saying in Lagos it's not much, but don't forget that these laws are made for Nigeria. And like I said, the idea behind it is to protect the most vulnerable at the lower end of the pyramid. So it means if your rent is 2.5 million and below, 20% of it will be granted as relief for you. Now, the 5th one was that if you are in your own house and you have taken loan from the bank to build that or to acquire or build that house, you are resident in it, then the interest element that you pay on that loan will also be relieved. But you can see there are 6 that you can claim, but in actual fact, you can only claim 5 because you are either a tenant or you are living in your own house. So you can't be 2 at the same time. So there are only 5 that you can claim. And this filing also affords you the opportunity to claim all those ones. And I think I've covered, that's what is in the next slide. Can you go to it, Usama, please? Yeah, you can see the rent relief, the actual rent paid and what have you. And for you to claim that, you need to provide us some information. We need to know that, yes, you actually paid the rent, so there must be a receipt. And of course, it will state clearly your name, and it will also state clearly the identity of the person you paid money to, including the tax. Like I told you, this going around now, the person who issued the receipt to you, the tax ID of that person must be on that receipt, so that we can make make some progress. I think I've talked about the statutory deductions, which are contribution to National Housing Fund, health insurance, pension, interest on whatever, and life insurance premium. So we can go to the next one so that I think we can go through it now. Now, what has this new law done? It has now increased the bans unlike before. And I can tell you on my honor, and based on data that we process for, because people are just filing for 2025, but they filed for 2024 last year. So we've run the figures of that of 2024. And the sample size that we use is almost 1.5 million. So it is material. If you remember, I told you the new minister told us that there are only 10 million, but we know in Lagos we're about 6 million of taxpayers. 1.5 million, that's 25% of what we have in Lagos. That is, I'm sure any statistician on this call will confirm to you that that is significant. Without any iota of doubt, I'm telling you, 54% based on that 2024 data that have been processed of those who filed. 54% of them, if we were to use the same figure today, we pay zero because of the new system that says 0 to 800,000 is it has been zero rated. But more importantly, which is not, most people don't state here, let me now tell you that the law also provides for one important thing, and it is that the minimum wage and lower, if your income is minimum and lower, then you will pay zero tax. So if today the government decided that minimum pay is 2.5 or 2.4 million, that is 200,000. So it means even if under the band that we have, and we calculate that you should pay, but because your income is 2.4 and below, it will be zero. So this, and it's important to understand this because what the system is doing is freeing up disposable income at the lower level. And when you free up disposable income at that level, what do they use it for? They buy food. And most of the food they are produced in Nigeria. Most of what, even if they're going to buy clothes, they're going to buy most likely Adire and Ankara and what have you, which are also produced there. So essentially what you are doing is that you are trying to energize the economy by freeing up disposable income at that lower level. And then outside of those 54% of those are not going to pay anything, going to zero. Over 40% of the 1.4 billion, again, 1.5 million, under this new regime, if we were to apply to their 2024 income, we pay less than what they paid that year. So in essence, it's only the top 2%, 1.6%, that's going to pay more. You say, yeah, the government is going to lose money. No. The government is not going to lose money because the top 2% who are going to pay more will more than compensate for those people that we have exempted at the lower end. And these are people that are afforded. And more often than not, it is something that the body is just there. And no matter how rich you are, you can't sleep on more than one bed. So if you like going to it, it will just be a complete waste. So there are some limits to which you can spend your money on, even if you are so frivolous. So what we are saying that part of those excesses that you have, make it available to the common pool, that we can make it available to the generality of the people and lift everybody up. And that's what this is all about. So it's important that we understand it. So I can say without any iota of doubt that majority of civil servants in Lagos, by the time this new regime should be operational, so should be paying lower tax than they paid last year. So should have no matter how little it is, even if it is just 5,000 or 10,000 here, what have you, more than what they were taking home last year. So that's the beauty of this new reform. Now, also, it has made, the next slide, the benefit in kind, because these are things that might impact civil servants and what have you. Unlike before, where I think, okay, some people, if they're from the Lands family, they will talk of the blue book in Lagos and valuation, because valuation is inherently subjective. So it gives a lot of room for people to do things that are not really right. So part of the things that this new reform has brought to place is to have some level of certainty. So if your employer, which is government in this case, provides you accommodation, all we will just check is that the value that will be assumed for you will be capped at 20% of your gross pay, which is known. So nobody is guessing again. But I know of some instances it is not a kind of, you have government accommodation, but it's more like government renting the house to the staff in the sense that they now forfeit their housing allowance. So if that one comes into play, then that rule in terms of rent will be applicable. I hope it is clear. Ditto for official vehicles, which is it's just 5% of the cost of acquisition of the vehicle. So it is known. Nobody is sitting down to say, I like your face, so I will value your vehicle to be 10 naira. I don't like this your face. That same vehicle now you say you are following it at 15 naira. So it has taken that away from the taxman. So there's certainty. The taxpayer can, in his or her own bedroom, decide that, okay, I think I have an idea of how much I've collected in benefits in kind. Ditto for if you have domestic staff, the cost of that, which you know, paid by government, it is seen as and assumed as money in your pocket because it's not you that's paying the salary of those people. Utilities, if it's paid by your employer, electricity, water, and what have you, it will be treated as benefit in kind. Leave grants and allowances. Now, this is not the way. If it's a leave allowance, it will be part of take as part of your income because that's what it is. And if there are some, I don't know whether it applies to the public service, there are some benefits for people in the private sector that when they go on leave, they also give to them. So all those ones also are taxable. Medical benefits are exempt. That is, if under approved schemes. So if you subscribe to like NHIS, you have your HMO and whatever, or even, like I said, the Ilera Eco scheme that we have under, is it Lashma or whatever, yes, then it is whatever subscription that you have paid, like I said, is relief. And then if your employers also provide you with medical benefits that is not in cash form, you understand, that one is also exempt. Now, so it's good that we understand under this benefit in kind because we used to have a lot of challenges with it in the past, but it has become clearer, straightforward for everybody to understand. So can we go to the next one? The next slide, please. Now, stamp duty and capital, it used to be called capital gains tax. Now, what you have under stamp duty is that most of the rates have been adjusted, but it's in the net schedule of the NTA, that is the Nigerian Tax Act. That one we will make available to Mr. Jamiu, who will circulate it among all of you that are on this call, because it's a long, actually, about 3 or 4 pages, really. And on each page, I think you have close to about 20, if not about 20 items if not more. I don't have the figures now. So, but the key thing that we can take away from here is that the stamp duty on contracts has now been made a flat rate of 1,000, unlike the 1.5% value. But Lagos was charging, I think, 1% or thereabouts. So it's just flat rate of 1,000. People say, government is using. Yes, because the president has said it. He is not taxing the seed. He wants to tax the fruit. So let the person do the contract. Let the person make profit. So the profit on the contract is what you will tax, not just because sometimes when we put certain laws in place, the truth of the matter is that if I know I'm bidding for a contract and then you're going to charge me 1.5% or 1% of the contract sum, as I will build it into it anyway. So it is Abu's money that was being used to service Abu before. So we want to have a clearer picture, because the essence of stamping is to actually make your documents to be valid in case of court process. So that's what we have. And essentially, that's what we have under stamp duty. So like I said, we have a long list, whether 3 or 4 pages, I'm not too sure of. I can't, but we'll make it available so you can see what the old rates are, what the new rates are now. And the rates have been simplified also, so that it will become easier for you to apply when people come to your different MDAs to do transactions with you. It's important to know that you must stamp those documents, because those documents will only be acceptable if they are stamped in for any court process. So you don't want to risk that. And like I said, the rates have been adjusted to make them more appealing and to all stakeholders. So what we now have is we don't have capital gains tax again. What we have are what we call chargeable gains. And I will explain to you. So what it means is that, this capital gains tax is on disposal of assets or loss of job or whatever, which is a capital situation. So, and it was a flat rate of 10% before. So it was a retrogressive way of taxing people, because a vulnerable person, because I don't want to use the word poor, disposed of his assets and made a gain of 100,000. Under the old regime, the guy pays at 10%. So he ends up having only 90,000 to take home. Now, a big boy did similar transaction, made a profit of 1 billion. And you charge him, slap him on the wrist, just 100 million. 100 million might sound a bit big to you. But the truth of the matter is that the 10,000 for that guy at the lower level is more critical to him than the 100 million that we are charging the guy that's a big guy that's making 1 billion. So what this new reform has done is that whatever profits you make or gain that you make, it will be treated as part of your income, and it will now be subjected to the tax rates under the personal income tax or under the company income tax. So what it means is that for SMEs, if they dispose of their assets, because they are zero rated, so whatever gains they make in the disposal of the assets will not be subject to tax. So they have more money to scale up their operations. So those are the facts that I think we should take away from here. But also, there are certain things that we need to know under the new law, so that it won't look as if you will say, if the person makes profit, he will spend the money now if he disposes of the assets in February this year, and he will have to account for it next year. But the law now provides for what you call a presumptive tax of 2% of the value, which must be charged at the point of the transaction. So you pay, it will be treated as a payment in advance of your tax. So by the following year, when you are now accounting for it, you will take down your 2% as your tax credit to offset whatever your tax liability is. Then, of course, because of the desire to protect the vulnerable. You see, I'm repeating this. If we keep coming on as we progress, you see that, and that's what I say, it is something that runs through the whole gamut and structure of the framework of the tax system. People who have gains from assets that are known to be of low value. If you 2 personal cars, your private residence, and adjoining parcel of land of about 1 acre, it's exempt. You don't pay, you pay zero. All your profits is yours. Now, if you lose your job, unlike before, when if you are paid some compensation for loss of job, it was 10 million. That was the threshold of being subjected to zero tax. It has now been increased to 50. So 50 million and below, you will not pay anything. No chargeable gain tax on that. But anything above 50, that's what we now factor into calculating your personal income tax, or yes, as the case may be. So let's go forward now so that we now know. So all I've been saying is for you as an individual, even if you are not a civil or public servant in Lagos State, these are things you need to know and which you should try to comply with. So let's go to what now concerns us as public servants. Now, I mentioned this earlier on. The ministry's tax ID must be included in all official correspondences. So it is now mandatory for us that we should ensure, just like we write all our reference numbers and what have you, eventually when the next set of stationery are being printed by Lagos State Printing Press, I think all these things we have to be put in place. But prior to that, I think what we should do is that we should ensure, just like we check the reference number, also check that you have the tax ID on all those correspondences that we are sending out. It is also important that you because the MDA is an impersonal thing, we, yourself, myself, we are the natural persons that runs all this thing for our agencies. It is our obligation to ensure that every transaction that we process, we ensure that the tax ID of the person, the applicant, is there, and the tax ID of our MDA as well. Now, the use of technology by relevant, this one might be beyond us because I think this is a missed responsibility, but at the last RSM which I attended, the Commissioner of MIST, that's Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, I think they are almost through with the process of maybe digitizing for those MDAs that have sent their processes to them, most of the processes that we have. So it's important that we know this and also keying into understanding that our processes eventually will become digitized over time and to go electronic. Now, of all, I think the only area where civil servants are allowed to engage in side hustle officially is in farming. So if by any chance you have people that you employ on your farm and what have you, or in any agro-related, it could be poultry and what have you, it's also important to register them. The fact that you register and you have tax ID does not mean that you have to pay tax, but it just keeps you in the net and it allows for proper planning by government. So the next one, please. Next one, please. Next slide, Samotu. Good. Now, under the old law, there are about 14 types of transactions that will require a TCC as a condition precedent before we are allowed to process it. But this one has now been reduced to 6. So now it's important for us not to see this requirement as an impediment to our job or to providing service to Lagosians. A tax clearance certificate means that that person has filed his or her returns. That person has paid what is expected to be paid as tax. That's why the person has TCC. So if the person, anybody that wants to do business with government, for God's sake, it should be tax compliant. Because you yourself, you are paying your taxes. And like I said before, you also must also ensure that you are filed so that you can also have your own TCC. So for application for certificate of occupancy, building plans, government contracts, government is not going to manufacture or print money like they did before. So it's taxpayers' money. So if somebody is coming to get contract from government, it's not tax compliant. I don't understand how we should. I think it's just not it. It's not right. So the other ones, application of firearms, doesn't concern us. Import and export license, trade license, those are federal things, so we should know. But at least we should know people in the land and physical planning space, the family, should know that we are working together to ensure that everybody in Lagos is compliant, is registered as a taxpayer, and we can all contribute to the common pool. It's also important to put you on notice that we have before the House of Assembly a harmonized bill. It's just to domesticate the proposal from the federal. About 14 states have passed it. So we are also expected to pass our own because it's to give you an idea of the number of taxes that can be on your bill in a year. And the idea behind it is to reduce all the number of taxes that we have to less than 10. So we have that bill in the House of Assembly. Once, I think they're going to do the public hearing, which we advise that if you have anything also, please, once the notice is out, feel free to contribute so that we can have, the idea is to have a very robust harmonized bill for taxes in Lagos. Next one. Okay, this one, just to let you know, banks are under obligations to give us, I don't think this one concerns you much, because like I told you, just like the VASP, Virtual Asset Service Provider, banks now have obligations to report large monthly transactions, cumulative large monthly to the tax authority, but it's just for our own use. So it's, you can see, the thresholds are quite high, so it's for the big boys, and then so that we will know, we will see you, so there's no way we can hide. Go ahead, the next one. Now, we've talked about the obligation as citizens. We've talked about obligations also as public and civil servants. But also what this new law has done is that it has also put on the tax authority some obligations to the taxpayer, so that it's imperative for the tax authority to comply also. So part of it is that we are obliged to issue tax ID proactively. We don't, once we see transactions on you, your bank and from other sources as well, we can generate through the GRB platform, generate your tax ID and send to you. Like my lawyer friend said there, said that they call it sua sponte, on its own initiative. So we can register you if we want to get information about you, even if you are hiding. It will not, because you can't hide, because STO will give us information about you anyway, as a public consumer can't hide, because we see you. Or even for taxpayers that are hiding, we will see them, and then we will register them, and then notify them. And so it's important to know that if you have taxpayer ID or former TIN, you don't have to re-register, because all those ones we have already sent to JRP, and they've come back with all the new numbers under the tax ID for us, which I think the Lagos State Service Provider will disseminate to each and every one of us. And the issue of multiple IDs will not happen, because the tax authorities now have the prerogative to merge, suspend, or deregister tax IDs as applicable. There are rules guiding all this, which the tax authorities will have to go through. Now, also, like I said, taxpayer rights are reinforced with clearer timelines for assessments and appeals. It may not be applied to you, but it's not impossible that after you filed, you let us know that you also collected some money from as a landlord. So aside from your tax was paid that by STO, you still need to pay some additional sum to us. You cannot say, like, no, I repaired my house now and I have my, that kind of thing. So it allows you opportunity to actually appeal. And we call it, once we give you additional access, you can now say, no, you object to it, but you must object within some time limit. You have 30 days to object, and we also have to respond to you. If the tax authority does not respond to the taxpayer within 90 days, the claims made by the taxpayer in its objection letter now become valid. So whatever the taxpayer has put there, because the tax authority has not responded. So these are things that were not there before, and people just do things and like I basically can't happen. But even under this new regime as well, if by chance, I don't know whether it's going to happen, it might happen, I don't know, that STO overcharge you your tax and you overpay tax to Lagos State government, then you can claim refund, because within 90 days, we must pay you back the refund that's due to you. If it happens, I doubt if it will happen in Lagos State, because we try to do things. Yes, the next slide. Yeah. So we will also now have opportunity to reward whistleblowers for tax enforcement. It's provided for under the law, and it's something that we're still working out the modalities for it, because we don't want it abused. So once it is out, we will definitely issue a public notice on it, and also the criteria and the framework for ensuring that it is done the proper way, and it is not done maliciously, as my lawyer friends will say. So it is not done maliciously, that it's done the proper way. Of course, I've told you, adoption of digital platforms. So those states that have not done it before, they are now under, they must do it. And for those that don't have the capacity, like I told you, the JRP, the NRS try to provide something for them, so that at least they can they can be up to date in terms of technology. Of course, I've talked about the tax reform, which we are bound by law to have an account created purposely for this with the AG, which will reside the Accountant General, which we're already in discussion with the AG's office on this. Next slide, please. Enforcement dynamics under the new regime. So it's important, like I said, not to fall foul of the law under this new regime, because the penalties are stiffer, and also the process of applying it has been made easier for the tax authority. We now have what they call administrative penalties. These are penalties that can be applied without going to court, unlike before. Under the old regime, most of the penalties, it is usually on conviction. So you have to go to small claims courts or whatever, or the revenue courts, the Revenue Division of Lagos State High Court, and you know how it takes. The court process in Nigeria is not peculiar to Lagos. But now, without even going through that process, if you don't, like I told you, if you don't file by 31st of March, you're already liable to 100,000 naira penalty. you don't have to, the tax does not have to go to court. And if you don't comply by 1st of May, another 50,000 will be on it. By 1st of June, another 50,000. So these are things that we don't need to do. And like I said before, if a company awards a contract to an unregistered vendor that does not have a valid tax ID, under the new law, there's a penalty of 5 million. But this one, it's not going to happen in Lagos because I know the people in PPA. They are very detailed when it comes to that. There's no way they're going to miss it. And even if they miss it, the AG's office is not going to miss it. So it's not likely to happen in Lagos. These are the kind of things that you have under this new regime. Yes, the next one. Yeah. Yeah, I've told you, you can see, just an example. Under the old law, it's just 20,000 where the offense is for failure to file, 2,000 for every day of default or 6 months imprisonment. But if, aside from the administrative charges I've told you about, if the agency now decide that you are a recalcitrant non-filer, and the agency wants to make an example of you, if you go to court, the court can bill you 1 million and imprisonment of up to 3 years. So it's so stiff that people should be encouraged to actually, they are incentivized to actually comply. Then under this new, in terms of dispute resolution, the TAT, they've made them more like a quasi-judicial body. Aside from the TAT, there's also the tax ombud. We've decided not to use ombudsman because it is a women's week or whatever, so we don't want to call it ombudsman as well. So it's a tax ombuds. The tax ombuds is actually the government providing technical assistance to those people who can't afford tax consultants. So you go there, you tell the problem, and the tax ombud is expected to provide that service to you, resolve your issues with the tax authority at no cost to you. So you will see that primary objective of protecting the most vulnerable again, even under dispute resolution. That's the kind of thing we have under this system. Next one, please. Next slide. I've talked about administrative penalties. They are under non-filing, so that's it. The tax ombuds, I just talked about it, so that's it. Benefits for employers of labor. The definition of SMEs. So as long as that SME definition, it remains 100 million. If your turnover is 100 million, you'll be no tax on your profit and assets of the. So it is something that is built in the system to just protect the SMEs. And then there's also a requirement for the tax authority to simplify its filing processes so that aside from the typical Form A that you have, we are supposed to have, which we have done in Lagos, to have a simplified tax form for the people in the informal sector. You just give your name, your address, and what have you, how much from your own estimate of your total sales or revenue, what you think is your profit, and you just feel like that's it. And of course, there's the whistleblower system that I said, protect SMEs and what have you. These are things that we want to put in place, but we don't want it to be abused. The whistleblower and the one on compensating people for providing information to the tax authority. Next one. I think we should getting close to the end now. Yeah. So you can see essentially that what we have done is that the new tax laws present significant opportunities and benefits for public servants by creating a more equitable, transparent, and efficient tax system. But not only public servants, for all stakeholders in the system, it's because there's clarity and because it is digital driven, there's also accountability. And the idea also is that we can see that the reforms have been done to reduce the overall tax burden, zero the one for the low people, reduce the one for the middle income, and so that they can have increased take-home pay, disposable income, and also enhance their living standards. The simplification and unification of tax laws enhance understanding and compliance, while improved administration promotes accountability. It is also important to know that the success of these reforms depends not only on the laws that we have them, but on implementation. And this implementation relies on most of those people that are on this call today. So as public servants, please let us try to understand the reforms. Also importantly, let us comply, because if we comply, then it becomes easier for us to tell the other citizens that they should do the right thing. We must also support institutional coordination, and so that because we are all working for the same government and for the good people of Lagos. So we must ensure that we have some form of synergy. We are not competing with anybody. Let us work together to make life easier, improve our processes, and then let us help in promoting transparency and accountability. I thank you all for your attention, and I'm open to the questions that maybe my colleague must have created, or maybe someone must have created. Thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you so much, sir. Usamot, are you still with us? Okay. Please, can you make some emojis and appreciate our guest speaker? We have almost about 206 here, and I'm seeing only 2 people appreciating him. Thank you so much, Mr. Abidin. Before we go to the question and answer, we firstly, please, if you are just joining us, we have a YouTube Telegram channel for you to join us for more updates. This is our Telegram channel to join us. And also, if you miss any part of this class, no problem, nothing to fear about. We have your backing. You can visit our YouTube channel also for all our programs. So feel free to join us, or feel free to visit our YouTube channel, subscribe. Your subscription give us support. So, all right. Please, if you have any question, you can, sorry, sir, Mr. Abidin, just permit me to let them raise their hand. Maybe we can just pick 1 or 2 people to.
Absolutely, at your discretion. That's good. That's good.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So you can raise your hand if you have any more clarity to know. If you don't understand any part of this, or any part of the presentation, raise your hand and let's see. Also, you can make use of the chat box. So let me run through. I think we somewhat our network is serving issue at our end. Okay, quick one. Odunton Akintunde, you have the floor. Your name and please just go straight to the point.
Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Odunton Akintunde, and my question goes thus, because I had an issue with filing of tax for this year. and which is that during the process of filing it and filling the digits and all, I actually had to like save what I had already done. So I'm coming back to add some information to what I've already filed. After the whole process, I had to submit. When I submitted what I had already done, I realized that all the income that I filed did not capture into what was actually done, and which I did earlier based on the fact that I saved what I had already done. And the my question now goes thus, after all that, is there any way that one can re-edit what one has already submitted? That's my question, sir.
You want me to take that one, or you want, if there's anybody that has similar experience? Okay. Oh, all right. Yeah. So I'm not an ICT buff. So, but what I can assure you is that this is a peculiar case, because ordinarily, once you save, it should be saved on the system. But since you have this, what I will advise that you do is very simple. Go on that same LRS etax.lrs.net, where you've tried to file, and then there is a what you call a chat bot there, and then put your complaints to that same chat bot, or if you want a direct personal and for you to be addressed, then you can go the call LRS. That is 0700. Are you with me? 22 555 477. 0700 22 555 477. Please call that number, and then one of our help desk people will address this issue and link you up to be sure that this thing is properly resolved. So if it's from your end or from their end, the most important thing is that you have at least made effort to file, and that, but along the line, you thought you saved and you are sure you saved, but by the time you came back, it's no longer there. You understand? So they will be able to check it at the back end to see what they can do, and then automatically they will afford the opportunity to be filing properly. Odunton, are you with me?
So, Odunton, are you okay with that response? Unmute yourself, Odunton.
Just
yes, sir. I got you, sir. I got you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir, for the information, sir.
Yes, please. So please, so they will afford you the opportunity to do the proper thing. Thank you for doing the right thing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let me run through the chat box now.
Right.
Okay, so there is a message here for audience that you can also generate the new tax ID pursuant to the NTA, and as mentioned by Mr. Akode on this link, taxid.jrb.gov.ng. Please note, please scroll through the chat box and copy that link. And the tax link, someone is asking for the tax link for file in our tax return. Okay, www.etax.lirs.net. Please note that also. So Shakiruddin Logun said, number one question, can an individual under the payee claim loss relief, and to what extent? Second question, what benefit is the tax return tax rebate as contained in the pay slips serving the public servant? Number three question, sir. How will the current tax regime lay to rest the issue of tax for resident purpose. I don't know if you get those three questions, sir.
No. The second one.
Okay, the second one said, what benefit is the tax return or tax rebate as contained in the pay slips serving the public servant?
All right, thank you to Shakiru. I don't understand how somebody in employment can claim loss relief, because you worked, you have been paid. So where is the loss coming from? The person that can claim loss relief would be the entrepreneur that has invested money, that after he has checked his revenue and has checked his cost. So the issue of loss relief does not apply to an individual that's an employee. That's now the benefit of tax rebates. I'm struggling to understand that as well, because when you say tax rebate for what? So because you need to be clear on what you are asking for. The benefits that you are only entitled to, I've told you that you can claim. You can claim reliefs and allowances based on your subscription to statutory schemes. You have the pension, you have the National Housing Fund, you have the health insurance. If you check all these ones, because the government is giving you relief for it because it is something that is desirable. That's why that government is giving you relief for it. It is because ordinarily, if we were to have what they call an utopia, the government will provide house for everybody. The government will provide health for everybody. You understand? But since it's not been able to do it, and you have now subscribed to a scheme to be able to generate, then government said, I'm relieving you of your tax burden of that. So those are the claims or rebates that you can have when you subscribe to those schemes that are approved in the law. Then in terms of residency is based, Nigerian tax law is based on your normal place of domiciliation, where you are domiciled. So it means even if you are a worker, an employee of Lagos State government, and you live in Mowe, Mowe is Ogun State. So you are tax resident in Ogun State, and you pay your taxes to Ogun State government. So it's better to just make it. So it is your established place of domiciliation where you are. That's what determines your residency. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. And Gabriel Oyekunle said, the new tax law, has it been implemented in Lagos State public servant payslip?
Okay, Gabriel. So okay, I can give you an expo on this because I was at the AG's office was it this week or the last week or week before the last? And the truth of the matter is that it has not been implemented because they claim that they were waiting for something from federal. But the good thing is that the team that is on it came to our office during this past week, whether it was Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember. And it was made clear to them that we already shared with them what they can use to implement it. So most likely, it's not because Lagos is there. They said we are very good in Lagos. 23rd in Lagos, everybody's collected the salary. So the salary for March has been done. So most likely you start feeling the effect from April, when the excess tax that will be deducted from your salary from January to March will be refunded to you. And then going forward also, I think, but I can't speak for the AG. The only thing is that I know that is being proactive about it and he wants to get it done as soon as possible. So that's what I can tell you. They are aware of the fact that they have not. In LRS, we have started doing it. And I'm not too sure of other MDs that are independent of the AG's office in terms of salary administration. But the AG's office is already planning to get it implemented through the Oracle system. Yes.
All right, thank you so much, sir. I think Elijah Brown has been answered some question here.
Good.
I expected to obtain
That's my
lawyers.
colleague. That's my
Oh,
colleague. He was over.
beautiful.
Yes,
Okay, so please
yeah.
check the chat box. You see some responses there from her. Shakiruddin Logun said, suppose a public officer's accommodation getting burnt or washed away by floods, sir. I don't understand that question. Shakiruddin, I don't understand your question, Shakiruddin. Please, can you rephrase that? Or, sir, do you understand that question?
No, but maybe he can unmute and then talk to us so that maybe we can hear him.
Yes, yes, exactly. So, Shakir, you can use that opportunity, raise your hand so let's unmute you so that you can express yourself. Or small. Okay, Shakir. Okay, unmute yourself. You have the floor, Shakir.
Good evening, sir. My name is Shakiruddin. I asked the first question from the chat box. Unfortunately, my network has been so bad, sir. So that was why I sent the question. It's an addition to the public officer who is captured under the PE sought claim loss relief. So that was why I added that question that
Okay, please refresh it very well. But I can, okay, now it's Shakiru that asked me. You see, the person that will be at loss is somebody that is running a business.
Or watched off. What is
Shakiru,
the relief?
Your network is sorry, I will mute you back. Your network is dragging.
So what we can do for him is that maybe we should get his details, and then my colleague will reach out to him. So if you can get his, so that we can make it clearer to him. But
so,
what we do is that
Shakiru,
we will share the response with you as well, so that other people can benefit from it.
Okay, sir. So Shakiru, you can send your number. You can share your number with us so that they can respond to you privately on your question, or you call the number, the other number display 0700022555477. Okay. So okay. So I think we don't have any question again. And in absence of no question, okay, Gabriel said filing of tax. Pin the phone number again. Okay, the phone number is 0700 22 555 477 070 22 555 477. LRS number. Filing of tax is done by employer or employee. So thank you so much, sir. Mr.
No, it's important to clarify that one.
Okay.
He said that whether it's employer, the employer files its own returns. The employee also files his own, because the employer is telling us that throughout last year, I paid XYZ this amount of money. You understand? And that money that he has claimed to have paid you, the NRS will grant that employer relief for it. So you, Mr. X, will now tell us that I received from my employer this amount of money. So it allows us also, because your employer has filed in January, you have, your employer has only 31 days, 1st of January to 31 days to file. You as an individual, you have 90 days from 1st of January to 31st of March to say, this is how much I received from my employer, this is how much I got from rent, This is what I got from other side hustles. You understand? So what you now claim that you have received from your employer, we will have the opportunity to cross-check what your employer claimed to have paid you. So please, you have your obligation to file your own. Your employer has the obligation to file what he has paid to all his employees. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Because of time, I will only pick 2 questions if need. Because Alajabra has been even doing justice to some questions here. Can we at Shomade please, LRI should assist in school tax clearance where pupils depend on their step parent who is a civil servant. Sir, I don't know if you understand that, sir.
If I understand very well, that in situations where there are requirements for TCC to be presented, and the person that is likely to present it is a civil servant that is whose ward wants to take some benefit from the state government. So the onus is on that civil servant or public servant to have filed his or her returns. If you have done it, you will get your TCC. And once you have your TCC, then of course you can use it to maybe support your ward or your own child or your whoever you are sponsoring. But you'll be not you will take into consideration that you are the sponsor of that individual.
All right, thanks, sir.
Yes.
Sorry, please, Alajabra, can you help us redisplay the website, please? You can help us redisplay it because people find it, I don't know, maybe they find it difficult to scroll up.
That's the hotel has it. Yeah.
So help us resend it. So Henrietta Oyebo, so please, I need clarity on the stamp duty. You said 1,000 naira is stamp duty.
No,
First one to the NTA 2025.
no, it's stamp duty of the contract document. It used to be a percentage of the contract sum before. But now, under the new law, the stamp duty due on the contract document is just a flat 1,000 naira. So
All
it's
right.
specific to just the contract document, please. It's specific to contract document, please.
All right, thank you, sir. Once again, I think Odebumi need a clarification here. She said, sir, I have a child living with me. Can he or she use my pay slip in school, or I need to pay for tax again in the child's name?
No, that's the clarification I've just given now. The key thing is that you are not paying tax for, because you are a civil servant. Tax has been deducted from you. The only tax you pay is if perchance you have income from other sources, which you would disclose. So all you need is a kind of certification that you would have done yourself, that this person is my ward, is my niece, is my nephew. So that and then they have a system of checking, so that we know what your claim is valid or not.
I think our question here is that if the word, the person is not bearing a surname, I know some people normally send their maid to school.
Okay.
Do you understand, sir? So what is going to happen here? Can the person still use their pay slip or pay for that since they are not bearing the same surname?
No, you are not. Lagos is not asking you to pay because you want to go to school. So please let us get that one clear.
Okay.
It's just to show evidence that you have complied with law. So you need to, the certification you are going to give is that you are certifying that this person actually depends on me. But if they find out that it is a lie, then that's where you're going to get into trouble because the penalty for it is very steep.
All right.
So yes. So it's important to clarify that it's a certification. You are certifying that this person lives with me, is my nephew, is my niece, is whatever. So you are the one, and that I'm the one responsible for his or her upkeep.
All right, sir.
And this is
Thank
my
you so
house.
much,
This is
sir.
my, so that's kind of security that will be required. Lagos is not asking for people to pay for education, please. So
Okay, I think I understand Shomade here because he's trying to talk about the experience he had at the Model College. He said Model College refused. I did an affidavit to the effect LRS are not helpful at all. I think most of them are, they are
okay.
talking
What?
from their
So
experience.
he has a case now. So let him put it forward. You understand?
Okay.
So whatever he has, let him put it through so that it is documented. It's not hearsay. Let it be documented, and then there will be a response from the agency on it if it is from us. But he said it is the school that refused to accept his position.
I think that is that what she's talking about.
But we can't talk for the school, but we can talk for what is expected from LRS. If there's anything that he or she wants from LRS to certify to the school, then that's what I think we can try to do to assist.
Okay, sir. So what do you think they need to produce to justify their claim, as in truly the person is their ward, or the person is living with them, or they are maid? Are they going to produce one affidavit to that, or there are some requirement document they need to produce, sir? So that the school
this is something that I'm not privy to it. So those are the kind of things if you are the one making a claim, so you must have a certification of that claim.
Okay.
And a legal certification of that claim. Once you have that one, then it means we can hold you responsible for it if find out that it's not true.
Okay. All right, sir. Okay, I think Shomade, you know what? Just make use of the number, right? Make use of the number, channel your question to them for their clarification, so they will respond to you, right? Okay, so I understand your plight, so just use that number, and then they'll get back to you and solve the problem. So thank you for that, Shomade. Here Orienta said, but sir, Federal is charging 1% stamp duty on contracts, but it means LRS is charging just 1,000 naira on contract. Is that it?
No,
It's like
no.
Orienta is not yet clear on that stamp duty.
No. The new law says it's very clear. It's just 1,000. You cannot. So NRS cannot be a law unto itself. The law is very clear. So but as of last year, it was still 1%, 1.5. You understand? So if it relates to a transaction that took place last year, of course, the law did take effect until 1st of January 2026.
All right, sir.
So it plays to yes.
All right. So on this note, we call on. Let me just choose one person to. Thank you so much, sir. Abaton Jamiu, unmute yourself. Abaton Jamiu. Abaton Jamiu, can you please unmute yourself?
Good evening, sir.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Jamiu. How are you?
Thank you, sir.
So
I'm fine, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I want you to give us a closing remark and appreciate our guest speaker. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate the honor, sir. So good evening, everyone, sir. So good evening, sir, our
Good evening.
facilitator, and good evening, the lecturer for tonight. On behalf of the entire KS, so I want to say a big thank you to you, sir, for the well-delivered lectures. We hope that what we had today will be an impact in our life, particularly in the service delivery to the people in the Lagos State. So once again, I want to thank you and appreciate you, sir. And I pray that God will continue to increase your knowledge, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And we appreciate you, sir.
Thank you very much for thanking me. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you very much, Mr. Baton. Mr. Tinubu,
Yes.
okay, because we couldn't hear Mr. Baton clearly due to his network over there, can you please proceed from there? Appreciate our facilitator, sir. Or do you have any question?
You said what?
Can you hear me, Mr. Tinubu?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I said we couldn't hear Mr. Baton very well. I want you to just appreciate our facilitator. And if you have any question also for more clarification, you can use the opportunity, then we close it for the day.
No question. I think I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you just proceed and appreciate our facilitator? Can you hear me?
You said what?
I said appreciate our facilitator. Our facilitator.
Yes, I'd like to say a very big thank you to Mr. Abidin. Thank you so much. And if you have any further question, I think we are free to communicate to you one-on-one. Thank you and God bless you, sir.
All right, thank you so much, sir. So thank you, Mr. Abidin, sir, for your time, for taking your time to explain this to us. Yorùbá said Atumawa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. I appreciate your presence, sir.
No worries.
So on this note, I said very big thank you to every one of us. Have a lovely night rest. Bye.
Okay, have a good week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.